One of the questions I hear a lot is, how often do I need to post in order to see results? Well, this is a little tricky because a lot of folks post in bursts. They get excited and they share a lot, and then they get busy with work and they don't share anything. And we're all guilty of this. However, this is one of the quickest ways to fail. Inconsistency and clumping of content really leads to poor results. So, when it comes time to posting, you need to be a bit more methodical. I always recommend you think about a schedule if possible, and how often are you going to post? Search engines and social media platforms really prefer things that are consistent. So if you regularly schedule your content, you'll get better results. This is why so many people use a blog engine. Maybe you're going to post the same day of the week. So, for example, pick a schedule. Maybe it's one time a week. You're going to post something to YouTube every Tuesday, or you're going to make sure that your corporate page has an update every Wednesday. Once a week is the bare minimum. Maybe it's 3 times a week and you're getting that content out there. Or 5 times or 7 times a week. Again, consistency is key. What you can do is write the content in advance and then schedule it to appear on the days you want. There's a myriad of tools out there for scheduling of content. We'll talk about a couple of them later, but the key here is to not just post stuff as it happens. Now, sometimes there's a need for that, like sharing information from a shoot or an event that's tied to a particular conference you might be at, but usually it's going to be the sort of thing that you can drip out over time. Newspapers are spreading their content out, not releasing all the stories at the same time. If you log into a website like CNN, you'll see that content constantly comes out. That's because freshening the page is a good idea. Now, in my own experience, we use social media in different ways. The way that I use it at my production company is very different than how we use it on some of our content sites where we're publishing information directly to consumers. You have to think about the audience you're trying to reach and where you want to put the time. But having some consistency and regularity goes a long way. Figure out for yourself. Pay attention to which content gets the most views. Sometimes it's tied to certain times of day. If you're trying to reach people in a certain segment, getting them during their lunch break might work well. If you're trying to go for a global audience, spreading the content out over different time periods works nicely. But if you're posting things at 3 in the morning on the East Coast, don't expect a lot of engagement from your business customers. I like to say it this way. Here's an example of what we might do when publishing for some of our consumer-facing content, when we publish an audio or video podcast. We release that on a platform like iTunes or Apple's new podcast app. Then send a tweet a little bit later. Then take that same content and share it to another network. Now, this example here is a little older, and you can see that tools like Google Plus have evolved. But the idea of taking the same piece of content and spreading it across multiple networks hasn't changed. Use the tools to your advantage and spread the content out. Publish the same thing at different times in different places. And where possible, create links back to it to drive people to it.